What is up, everybody? This is Lyle with No Hippie Barbecue. What I'm going to be making today is going to be some Apple Cranberry Crisp. This recipe was inspired by a website by the name of Julie's Eats and Treats. I'm going to leave a link to that website in the description below so you can take a look at all the good stuff she's cooking up out there. This is a very simple recipe. Why don't you guys come on in and take a look at the ingredients. Before we get into these ingredients, I do want to let you know that I will have the ingredients and amounts in the description below, as well as a link to Julie's website so you can take a look at the original recipe. So first thing we're starting off with is some apples that have been diced up. I happen to be using Honeycrisp apples. We have some fresh cranberries, and we're just going to go ahead and add these right on in. Some fresh lime juice, white sugar, and this is fresh vanilla. I believe she used vanilla extract, so I'm using a little bit more than what her recipe was calling for. And we're just going to mix this together. And we're going to let this sit for 5 minutes. I'm going to go ahead and set this aside, and we'll start working on the other part of this recipe. Now, the next part of this recipe is what we're going to actually top this with. So what I have here is, in her recipe, she used regular flour. I happen to have a little bit of Hippie flour around here. This happens to be coconut flour. So we're going to go ahead and add that in. We have some brown sugar, some oats, and then we have our cinnamon, and then we have butter that's not melted, it's chilled. And now we're just going to go ahead and work this in. Let me get that cranberry out of there. So now we have this incorporated in. And one thing that I will suggest, I did use cold butter with this. I think maybe warming it up just a little bit would actually work a little bit better. And one thing that you're trying to do is get all that powder from the flour and the sugar kind of mixed in to where it's kind of clumping like it is now. Our next step is just going to be to go ahead and get our crisp set up. So let's go ahead and start with that. Now, I've already filled up 3 of these with the apple and cranberry mixture. I have those sprayed down with some butter spray. So now we're just going to go ahead and fill them. Once we have them filled, we're just going to add our brown sugar butter mixture on top. And I have this on a sheet pan with some foil. And I know that this is probably going to bubble over a little bit, so that's why I have the foil down there. And once I'm done adding this, it's going to go in the oven at 375 degrees. And we're going to go ahead and cook that for, let me take a look at my notes, for 35 to 45 minutes. So we're going to go ahead and go for 45 minutes on this. These just came out of the oven after being in there for 45 minutes. I'm going to go ahead and let them cool off. Then we'll get into them, see what they taste like. So that right there is a wrap. Looks good. Let's get in, see what's up. I think I have some thoughts. Let me get in one more time. Okay. This right here is tasty. What I might do though, man, I would double up that. So I'm going to leave the original recipe in the description below. One thing I'm going to say I would do would be to add like maybe a teaspoon of salt. And then I would double up on that, on the crumble recipe. So the recipe I have in the description, double that up. Because that is probably the best part about this. Cranberries, I might back those off a little bit. Just really depends on how tart you like things. Overall, I'm digging it. So before I get into this next bite, I'd like to thank you guys for stopping by No Hippie Barbecue. I appreciate it. Comment, subscribe, and I'm out.